Hello and welcome to the Searsian Philosophy Podcast. My name is Charles Sears and I'll be the host. In this episode, we're going to cover a little bit about what this podcast is going to be, the things we're going to discuss, a little bit about me and some background so you understand what my areas of expertise are, what I bring to the table, and possibly why you may or may not want to listen to this podcast. By the end of this episode, hopefully you'll understand how this helps you or doesn't help you, if you're the right audience for this podcast or not. Again, this podcast is probably not for everybody, but at the end of the day, I believe that the information and knowledge that I have garnered over the years is worth sharing, and I hope that you find some value in it. With that, let's go ahead and get started.
Since the first spark of human thought, no pursuit has shaped our journey more deeply or elevated each new generation of man to new heights than the eternal pursuit of truth. From ancient wisdom to spiritual enlightenment and technological advancement, we've crafted cultures and communities to give our species its best chance to survive. Truth and justice stand eternal as humanity's compass. In this age of transformation, let their guardians rise anew.
This channel is going to be covering what I call the Searsian philosophy, which is ultimately philosophy of mind and the philosophy of life across many different areas of expertise. And what I am hoping to share with you, and what I will be sharing with you on this channel, is going to be the accumulation of knowledge across 37 years that I've been on this earth. And not only just the years, probably what's more important than that even is just the type of experience that I've had during those years. And so we'll be covering artificial intelligence, we'll be covering ethics and morality, we'll be covering psychology. I've published multiple books. My flagship book, my most recent book, is called The Architecture of Awareness, Decoding Consciousness. And you can see that, you can actually find that on Amazon. It's used in clinical practice. It's been reviewed by PhDs all over the world, including neuroscientists, philosophers, sociologists, and clinical psychologists, and even pastors. I think there's like a Lutheran senior pastor in Texas that reviewed it, who's the PhD in psychology. So ultimately, and then other broad areas, including some about business and marketing. Look, I want to, in full transparency, provide here the information that I feel not only you'll need, but I want my children to be able to come back to this channel and grandchildren long after I'm gone and find the knowledge that you won't find freely available to you, if available at all, across the internet. So some of the information here will be completely novel concepts that I've developed over the years, some of the items in my books, some of the philosophies and models for ethics and how the world should work according to the Searsian philosophy. And, ultimately you guys will get to be the beneficiaries of that if you so choose. To give you a little bit of background on me, I started my first business when I was 20 and I sold it around 21. Joined the military, the Army National Guard, in 2009, January 2009. I served 11 years as what was called a 25 Bravo, an IT or information technology specialist. I got out January 2020, right before the COVID lockdown. And during that time, since I was a reservist, I also served in law enforcement as a deputy sheriff from 2013 to 2018. I served in the criminal courts, in the civil courts, in the jails, and then some outside work, including manhunt, operating as a cybercrimes detective, and some other fun stuff that I'm sure we'll get into, including the wild story of how I left law enforcement, came back, and then had to fight a 4-year battle over military discrimination that I ultimately won, and it changed the culture for the entire department upon my departure. So with that, I started, after leaving there, went into tech in the private sector, progressed my career, started my own digital marketing agency in 2020, literally during the pandemic lockdown, like literally during the lockdown, started that, and have grown that over the last 5 years. And now it's being acquired by it's being merged, right? So we'll call it, it's really an acquisition, but it's being acquired by an IT company where we'll be focusing on artificial intelligence. And so I've been studying artificial intelligence for the last 5 years, really dug deep in the last 3, including being an expert in prompt engineering, programming with AI. I've used it across every channel, including marketing, becoming an author. I've used it as a research assistant. I've coded with all the APIs, and now we're building a software platform with it to do custom agent work. So I am deep in AI, understand everything from the psychology of humans to how this is going to work with artificial intelligence, and many things in between. So life is not a linear path, and through this wild journey over the last 37 years, I've been fortunate to approach everything with the passion of the philosophy of mind, psychology, and ultimately understanding why and how, or why all of this is and how all of this works. In my personal life, I'm known as the guy who knows how everything works, and I solve very complex problems. And so now I'm bringing that here to you. And listen, I understand that some of you might say, this sounds so arrogant, and that's fine. If you don't find the information useful here, then it's not for you. But there will be some of you out there who will appreciate what I'm bringing. I will understand the reason why I'm bringing it. And everything that I'm going to bring is going to be backed by a bare minimum of deep reasoning, but also typically through scientific research. And so every chapter in my book is filled with sources at the end, all scholarly articles, academic research. So just all the above. I enjoy talking about the philosophy of the Bible, which some people call theology. And I believe that even if you're not a Christian, the principles that come from the word can make the world a better place. And so my philosophy on that is that you don't have to be a Christian to be a good person. You only have to be a Christian if you want to get to heaven. So with that, we will end this episode. And I am excited to bring to you the next episodes. I'm going to try and keep these short, hopefully less than 15 minutes each. And then if we do any sort of interviews, then those will be probably longer than that, but those will come later. So, all right, guys, with that, thanks for listening in on episode 1, and I look forward to seeing you in episode 2.